Ladies and gentlemen of the world, my name is Zach Jones, although a lot of you probably know who I am already, but if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing a video to present a PowerPoint on 12 animals of Asia. Asia is the largest continent on the planet, but I've chosen 12 animals from that continent. First I'm going to start with the largest of the cats, the tiger. Now, tigers are the largest of the cat family, and when I say the largest, I mean a fully grown male can be over 3 meters long, weigh more than 400 kilograms, has canine teeth longer than my middle finger, and can bite with a strength of over 1,000 pounds, 400 pounds stronger than the African lion. Of course, tigers are found throughout Asia. They live in a wide range of habitats, from mangrove swamps to lush green forests to the forests, even the forests of Siberia, but also on open grassland. Unlike lions that live in prides, tigers are solitary. They live on their own. The only time that tigers interact is either when they mate and produce offspring, or when they're clashing over territory. Tigers prefer to live on their own because it makes it easier for them to creep up on prey. Of course, tigers are ambush predators. They hunt using stealth and cunning. Of course, while a tiger's bright orange coat with black stripes and white underside may seem fairly obvious to a human, to many animals like the rhino, rhinos, which can be prey for tigers, have poor vision. And because they have a bad time distinguishing colours, the stripes of a tiger blend in with other tall grass and trees. Of course, tigers need to get within about no more than 10 or 6 meters before they pounce. Of course, their favourite prey are sander deer, but of course they can also take on prey as big as water buffalo or even wild boar and elephant calves. And of course, once the tiger attacks, it needs to end the battle as quickly as it can. A tiger can clear about 6 meters with every stride, which is incredible. And of course, the trade-off is the tiger is too big for a lengthy chase, so it needs to be over fast. And once how it does it, it grabs a hold of its prey with its massive claws, tackles it to the ground, and then it will go for the throat and try to suffocate its prey. But it has been proven that tigers are probably one of the very few big cats whose teeth can actually punch right through the flesh of the throat, which is actually quite scary if you think about it. Of course, once a tiger has made a kill, it's time to feed. The tiger will always begin with the animal's rump and can eat about 20 to 30 pounds of meat at a single sitting, so that's almost half my body weight in meat. Then, once it's eaten its fill, it will hide the kill in the foliage, so scavengers like vultures or wolves or dogs can't get a free feed. And of course, the tiger will then rest in the eye line of its kill to make sure no one else eats it. It will feed on that kill for the next 2 or 3 days. Tigers, as many people know, are among the big cats like the jaguar, up there with jaguars and fishing cats, that are the cats that are most comfortable in water. While many people think as cats not liking water, tigers love water. It's where they can go to keep cool during the heat of the day. It's also somewhere where they can hunt, slowing their prey's escape before they go in for the kill. And of course, as I haven't mentioned before, there is a variant of the Bengal and Siberian tiger that is pure white, and of course it's it's not albino at all. It's all down to a genetic gene that means that those tigers lack the pigments that gives them the orange colour. I mean, it's a very rare variant of tiger, and it hasn't been seen in the wild since like the 1950s, but it is possible that some tigers like that do survive in the wild, but they are very, very rare. Um, Tigers are hunted by no species except for man, and unfortunately, over the last 100 years, the tiger population has been destroyed from 100,000 to fewer than 3,200 left in the wild, which has put them on the endangered species list. I mean, there are many reasons for that. I mean, their habitat is being destroyed for agricultural farms or plantations and towns, but they're also hunted for their fur because it's so beautiful, but also for their bones and body parts to be used in ridiculous Chinese medicines which do not work at all. And of all the species of tiger, we've already driven 3, the Caspian, Balinese and Javan tigers, to extinction. And right now, the Sumatran tiger is on the verge of extinction, but there is hope because organisations like WWF are working to protect tigers from extinction, but also working with with local people in Asia to prevent there being any conflict with humans and tigers. And in fact, in the early 2000s, there was a BBC wildlife team led by the late Dr. Alan Rabinowitz, who took them all to a country in the Himalayas called Bhutan, because there was actually scattered populations of tigers along the Himalayas right into Southeast Asia, and working with local people, they managed to discover that there are tigers in Bhutan, even as high as the Himalayas, and they were able to build a tiger corridor population to link them up, and that has been a great success story in tiger conservation. Of course, this is the range of tigers, like their historical range, and to a lot of species that are where a lot of them are only found now. Of course, the Caspian tiger was quite widespread before it was driven to extinction. But of course, the Balinese and Javan tigers were only found there. But the main place people go to see tigers is here in India. And another thing I didn't mention about the tiger is that they have been associated with many myths and legends. In fact, stories of their power and beauty have been told for generations in India, Korea and China. In fact, probably the most famous example was Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, where Shere Khan, the tiger, was the powerful antagonist and the self-proclaimed Lord of the Jungle who hated humans. But of course, enough about the tiger. Now, the next animal I'm going to show you is a living, breathing dragon. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Dragons aren't just the stuff of myths and legends. In fact, this is a real-life creature, the Komodo Dragon. Now, granted, Komodo dragons can't breathe fire, but, incredibly, a Komodo dragon, a fully grown male, can be well over 3 meters long, be 2 times heavier than me, and has venom powerful enough to bring down a water buffalo. And Komodo dragons are the largest of the monitor lizards, and they are the largest lizards on Earth, and also the largest venomous animal alive today. But they're found on a few islands in Indonesia that make up the Komodo National Park. I mean, they prey on all kinds of things like deer, boar, and carrion, but of course they can occasionally be cannibalistic. but they also can take on water buffalo, and quite often people find it remarkable that a lizard will take on and kill an animal as big as a water buffalo. I mean, just look at it. It is an immensely powerful beast with ferocious horns. But Komodo dragons don't try and overpower their victim like a pride of lions. Instead, all they have to do is they have to bite the animal and then they release it and wait for it to die. Because a couple of decades ago, it was believed that Komodo dragons use bacteria to bring down their prey, but that has since been disproven because they are in the monitor lizard family, and monitor lizards have been shown that they have venom. And Komodo dragons have about 60 teeth that are as sharp as a surgical scalpel, and they secrete toxic venom from special glands in the lower jaw. What the venom does to their prey, like a water buffalo, is that it affects the blood. I mean, it prevents the blood clotting and causes a decrease in blood pressure, and even the wound cannot heal. But also, it can guarantee infection in the wound. I mean, it might take a few hours or days for their prey to die, but all the Komodo dragon has to do is follow and wait. And of course, Komodo dragons are opportunists, and occasionally they have actually been known to deliberately target and even hunt humans. I mean, it is quite rare, but you've always got to have that in the back of your mind when you go and see these animals. Of course, in the Komodo National Park, they live on the islands that make up the park. Komodo dragons live in the mountains, the forests, the caves, and they've even been known to hang around the guide's ranger station to pick up leftovers. And of course, when Komodo dragons can also actually swim across the seas that separate the islands of the Komodo National Park. And of course, I've never really been there before, but of course a friend of mine has been to the Komodo National Park a fair few times, and of course, being as it's a national park, you're obviously not allowed to carry guns or anything that can harm the dragons, but you do need to defend yourself. So you're given a large stick with a Y shape on top. I mean, what use is that against a giant 3-metre long venomous lizard? I honestly have no idea, but it's better than nothing. I mean, it keeps as much distance between you and the Komodo dragon's mouth as possible. Of course, like snakes, Komodo dragons have a forked tongue, which they can use to pick up senses of smell and taste from the air, and it's actually their primary sense for when they're hunting. Like if they've bitten something like a water buffalo and injected it with venom, and even if the buffalo is like a few miles away, they can still track it by the scent it leaves behind. And incredibly, Komodo dragons also have a very strong bite force, which is very unusual for lizards because they have very, very lightweight skulls, but to have a bite force that powerful is quite incredible. I mean, of course, as I mentioned before, you can see these animals in the wild, but there are certain rules you need to follow. Like one of them, and this unfortunately only applies to women. Like if it's a woman's time of the month, they can't go near the dragons because if the Komodo dragon smells blood, they immediately switch to predatory mode, and there's nothing that can stop them, which is quite scary if you think about it. But of course, they're very rarely dangerous to people unless they're either very, very hungry, they're provoked or threatened, or if they're feeling defensive.